So I've been at this foreground for the better part of today. And as I mentioned in the last video, when you use raw umber, things like to get tacky pretty quickly. So I started out with all of this being very bluish gray. It's not like this. Here I used mostly cobalt blue for my blue. Here I've used mostly ultramarine blue for my blue. The colors in the rock here are ultramarine blue, raw umber, burnt sienna, cobalt blue, and ultramarine blue. And a bit of white, of course. I didn't like this mass. It was too big a chunk. Opposing this chunk. And I kind of like the zero effect coming down the painting. I see I'm not on frame, but I like the idea where it comes down, comes across, comes across, comes across, comes across. It's almost as though the line, the design of the features in the painting, introduce one to the next, to the next, to the next, that sort of thing. That's what I'm hoping to achieve here. But I've painted this thing, scraped off areas, highlighted a little bit some areas. This band was completely changed. Had to scrape it off. I've gone over so many areas now that I'm working wet, in wet, in wet, in wet. So I don't know. I really don't think this corner will be finished today. In fact, I know the entire foreground won't be quite finished today, but it'll be close enough that the next time you see it in the foreground will be done. Anyway, I'm going to remove the rest of this blue here, and I may have to change the direction of my strokes, but I'm just going to cover it. Get rid of the blue, go towards this, more burnt sienna hue, and I think that's the direction we want to go. But I'm adding enough ultramarine blue to that burnt sienna that it doesn't become that the burnt sienna doesn't stand too strong, because burnt sienna can be a very strong color. Oops. Yeah, the look of the strokes is very different now as well, because I'm going wet and wet and wet. So I may just have to wait until tomorrow, but before I keep going into this. But I like that idea, I like it creeping up and then going across. It's got some design. It's got more design in it than I was really anticipating putting in the painting, but as long as it doesn't detract from the more distant shapes, I'm good with it. It's fine with me. I laid in these colors in this direction because I'm representing dirt more than rock, or maybe it's rock with a heavy iron oxide content. Whatever you like, it's fine. That's why it's called Impressionism. And the same thing here, it gets picked up again. But here I have this going across. It might behoove me to carry that in my strokes in the same direction here. We're going to see. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let me raise my view here a little bit. So I have all these shapes, right? They all sort of have crowns and they all dip down. So I even here, and even here. But a very slight opposition will be this rebellious bit of dirt here, and that, although it goes down, it does this as much as it does this. So it opposes a little bit Had I done the same thing with all of my shapes here, I felt it might get a little bit monotonous, and maybe not even consciously monotonous. But I still kind of thought I could, yeah, why settle for second best if you think you can improve on it, right? So that's what we did. These blues here, oh, you know what I'm going to do right now, actually, before I go any further. Let me just give my palette a wipe here. And I guess seeing as I got it all over my finger, I'll give that a wipe too. Okay, make some dark stuff here. Ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. No white. I have, a lot of lines everywhere in interspersing the colors that I have on here. So I think maybe what I should do is maybe just one. Maybe just something here. Now it's getting pretty tacky already. To help indicate the crack, in the rock there. Maybe that'll help. Maybe there's no harm in doing that. Okay, more than one. One on its own. It's funny, if you have one on its own, sometimes it looks like an oddball. If you have something else similar to it in the same direction, supporting it, now you tend to identify it as a crack. Or, sorry, strata, or striation, or whatever you like. Yeah. Here, let's back off. Let's back off. Back off, man. Let's back off and just have a peek. From, again, my vantage point of the painting. That way you can see through my eyes a little bit. Let me also drop this painting down. Yeah, it needs a little more texture in the foreground, but we're getting there. We're, again, heading in the right direction. Okay, that's a mess. That'll get organized right there. That's looking not bad back there. I like that. I have a lot of cracks and crevices to groom. I have to groom the light a little bit on these rocks. Tone some down, raise some up. It's okay. The painting needs that all over the place. But at least we see the light at the end of the tunnel. The painting is coming to a close. Now I just have to really, more or less, make those final but crucial decisions. My step 6, as I like to call it. See you soon.